Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Produced by David Humphreys. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
April is Alcohol Awareness Month, so today we discuss alcohol with special guest, State Representative Abdullah Hammoud, who wants to lower the blood alcohol content level for DUIs. Lauren Stovall from the National Council on Alcohol and Drug Dependence. Community activist and author Yusef Shakur. Plus Rachelle Brown-King tells her real alcohol story. Also street reporter LaShawn Battle and co-host Leroy Carey also weigh in on the discussion. And now, here he is, the host of our show, Lester Lewis.
Welcome to Ask the Messengers. I am Lester Lewis, your host. On today's show, we're going to be dealing with alcoholism. Now, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and we want to be as in tune with the times as possible. And so with me today, we're going to ask State Rep Hammoud this question. With the current epidemic of opioids and now with marijuana being passed, many people, have they forgotten that alcoholism is an addiction?
I don't think that it's necessarily they've forgotten. There's just been a greater emphasis on the opioids and marijuana given the times and given just how prevalent it's been in the media. But I think most certainly we need to address alcoholism and substance and drug use dependencies of all forms. Okay,
so can you tell us, you've got legislation that is looking to be passed regarding lowering the level. Can you tell us about what that's all about?
Of course. So the overall proposal does two things. One, it lowers the blood alcohol content threshold from 0.08 to 0.05. And the second component is for first-time convicted drunk drivers is to get the ignition interlock device installed in their vehicles to try to prevent repeat offenders from getting behind the wheel. And the reason we want to do this is to save lives. So when you actually lower the blood alcohol content level from 0.08 to 0.05, you not only reduce the likelihood of fatalities due to drunk drivers between 0.05 to 0.08, but also the super drunk drivers greater than 0.15. So the data and the science show us that by reducing this, you can save up to 1,500 lives annually across the country because people then second guess getting behind the wheel because they think, well, I can't blow past the 0.05. I should find another way home.
All right. So now we also have with us Lauren. Now, Lauren, they're trying to lower it, but what is your thought on alcoholism as a whole?
I think alcoholism is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed and really highlighted and put out at the forefront. I'm not going to say if I'm for or against, but I really think that as I'm listening to more about this proposal, that it really might make people just more accountable for their drinking and more responsible in a way for their drinking, because you think, I mean, if you're at 0.05 or 0.08, I mean, what level, when do we stop? You know what I'm saying? Right, what exactly is the high that we're really trying to reach? Yes. And I think you're able to achieve some sort of release or stress relief, definitely at 0.05, you know, if not before. And so it really is going to be on the people's conscience to be more responsible when they drink. And so it might even have us thinking, you know, and recognizing if we have an issue with drinking, if we're you know, why are we drinking so much?
Right. Yeah. Right.
I mean, I had to even look at that in my own life. So I think it's something to be considered. That's what it's making me think of. Wow, we really have to be more responsible and a little more conscious of our drinking, and where do we draw the limit for ourselves?
If I may, at 0.05, you are considered impaired.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about legislating driving. At 0.05, you actually have a reduced ability to steer, reduced coordination ability, and you actually add seconds to your ability to react in an emergency situation. Right. And that's why we think at 0.05, you are impaired.
All right. Now, Yusef is with us, and he has a story. Yusef, can you tell us your story from the point of alcoholism in your life?
So I grew up in Detroit with a single mother who experienced what probably many of us of raising children by ourselves, economic challenges, and alcohol had become a coping mechanism. to deal with those stressors. So part of this conversation is important that we also talk about systematic racism. We alluded to the opiate crisis, which is centered around white folks and white children. But we don't talk about the crisis of alcoholism, how it impacts black families, particularly black mothers, and the devastation, and looking again, unfolding at the reality around race, in particular black people, where alcoholism are more accessible in black communities. There's a there's a liquor store on every corner, and it's tied into genocide.
So, Brother Yusef, you also personally experienced alcoholism firsthand.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it becomes a generational thing of trauma of how to maintain, survive. I mean, as a gang member, as someone who didn't have a father in his life, who did have a mother, but she was going through what he went through. Drugs and alcohol, particularly, becomes a coping mechanism to maintaining how to survive in an oppressed environment.
All right, Lauren. Now, you guys deal with individuals like that all the time. What would you say to a family who's going through and having a member of their family struggling with alcoholism?
I think it's important that we just get education and become a little more aware ourselves. A lot of us are misinformed on alcoholism and don't really look at it as a disease. And they think, well, just stop, Mom or Dad, just stop. And I think we need to recognize that it's a disease and there's treatment for it. There's not even a cure for it, but there is treatment. And that's one of the things that my agency does, is we provide treatment as well as prevention and recovery. But also, to Yusef's point, I really want to make it be known that the person who is struggling with alcoholism can just really look like any of us and just look like you and I. It's not the person just on the corner of the street. It's a person who works every day and gets up and goes to work, and then they come home and they drink themselves into an oblivion. It's a person who still is able to kind of maneuver, and so it's kind of unassuming, but we don't know what they do behind closed doors. And so it doesn't have, it's about reducing that stigma of what it looks like we have an idea of you're an alcoholic or it doesn't have a face to it.
All right. So now, State Rep, there is a thought, and Brother Yusef kind of said it. Is this a attempt to gather more DUIs, to arrest more people? Is that the goal of that bill?
Not in any way. The goal of this proposal is to save lives, and that's to reduce the amount of people who are impaired from stepping behind the wheel. I agree wholeheartedly with Brother Yusef. I think more has to be done on ensuring that poverty is not something that's generationally passed on. As a person who grew up in poverty, it took 25 years to pull my family out of it. I think we have to do more on criminal justice reform. I think we have to challenge the system which has systematically oppressed people of color, and have reforms across the board. So most wholeheartedly agree, but this package of bills is about saving lives.
All right. Brother Yusef, you got something you want to add to this?
I mean, just real quick, in terms of understanding the impact of systematic racism, of how, again, when you compare a liquor store with individuals who are suffering and who begin to drink, as a leisure, it becomes an addiction. Now you have police who are coming in our community, to my sister's point, where this target of alcoholism is shaped of black people, but reality it's the conditions. This is a human problem, but because of the conditions of single parenting, etc., we become the scapegoat for alcoholism and not dealing with the larger problem.
And now we're going to ask our panelists, what are your final thoughts on alcoholism? Let's start with State Rep Hammoud.
I think this is something that we have to tackle from all aspects. We're advocating for more drug courts, we're advocating for greater access to mental health, but at the same time, the proposals we put forth are about reducing the likelihood of impaired drivers getting behind the wheel and getting onto those roads. So we want to save lives, and I think we can do both at the same time.
All right. Lauren?
I just want to bring awareness that April is where we specifically recognize Alcohol Awareness Month. It was actually founded by the organization that I work with, again, the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependency, and so you can expect to see more programming, more information, more awareness really brought to the disease of alcoholism, as well as the opportunity to understand recovery, that people do recover from alcoholism as well.
And Yusef?
I just want to add to the point of the more investment of human beings in terms of if you improve the quality of life of fathers, the quality of life of mothers, the need to drink decreases. and you don't perpetuate a model for children to see alcoholism as not necessarily something as luxury, but as a coping mechanism. So investing in human beings is the solution.
All right. So Lauren, can you tell us what this year's theme for Alcohol Awareness Month is?
Absolutely. And I really want to make sure that I hone in on this precisely. So the 2019 theme for Alcohol Awareness Month, again, which is in April, is Help for Today, Hope for Tomorrow. And it is designed to draw attention to the pervasive impact that alcoholism and alcohol-related problems have on young people specifically, and their families, their friends, and the community as a whole. And so it's really to highlight the reality that help is available and recovery is possible. So again, help for today, hope for tomorrow.
All right, thanks for that information. And how can they find you?
They can just find us on Facebook, NCADD. We are the Greater Detroit area, as well as our website, which is ncadd-detroit.org.
All right, listen, we've got to go to a break. When we come back, and don't go anywhere, because I want to thank the guests right here. We're going to come back more with alcoholism, and we're going to talk members here at Ask the Messengers, and we're going to get some great answers coming. So don't go anywhere. Ask the Messengers. We'll be right back.
April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and our discussion continues with Rachelle Brown as she tells her real story coming up next, along with LaShawn Battle and Leroy Carey as Ask the Messengers continues.
Looking for the finest quality in men's clothing? Visit Campo Clothing, located in the heart of downtown Hamtramck since 1931. They carry a full line of suits, shoes, shirts, ties, and clergy robes. What sets Campo Clothing apart from other stores? The personal service. And they offer free alterations for life. They also have no charge layaway. Ask about their $98 suit sale. Campo Clothing, located at 9643 Joseph Campo.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
Getting drunk doesn't make you cool.
Alcohol kills. You use it too much, you lose the thrill and get chills. Avoid it, don't toy it.
Drinking disables thinking, don't drink.
Don't drink the liquid or you'll be addicted.
Mind clouded and conflicted. And in a few years, you may be convicted. P.S. Don't fall under peer pressure.
Don't mess your life up, it's not worth it.
Be smart, stay in control.
Real men stay sober. Real women do too.
This has been a PSA brought to you by NCADD to bring awareness to underage drinking. There is help for today and hope for tomorrow.
Welcome back to Ask the Messengers. April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and we have real people sharing their real stories. Today, Rachelle has a story that she'd like to share. Rachelle, tell us about your story of alcoholism.
Well, I am the baby of 7, and I seen my father and his brothers suffer from alcoholism. And I grew up saying, oh, I'll never do that, I'll never do that. But as life came and took its journey on me, I found myself drinking a lot than what I should have been drinking. It got to the point where when I was diagnosed in 2011 with fibromyalgia and lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, I literally was drinking every day. I said it was to take away the pain. Well, actually, it was because I liked the feeling. I didn't want to I just didn't want to face reality. So I was drinking literally every day. But still didn't think I was, headed down the road towards being an alcoholic, knowing that it's hereditary. Right. And so I ended up going to an NA meeting with my wife. And as they were talking, I was like, oh, that's me. That's me. That's me. I'm like, how these people got my story? And then I realized, girl, you better wake up, because you about to be on some stuff. So that's pretty much my story in a nutshell. It's just that, and I find myself, I have a sister that's 2 years older than me. She has become an alcoholic at the age of 43, and I was just like, wow. I seen me in her. If I hadn't stopped, if I had never went to that meeting, I would have never knew or identified. All right.
So now, LaShawn, you share with us, and you bring to the point that alcohol is a drug, and the people who drink don't see it as the same as somebody who used drugs.
Absolutely. Alcohol is definitely a drug. Sometimes dope fiends think that, or alcoholics think that they're better than dope fiends, but it ain't no difference, because we all end up at the same address. Ain't no difference. One wet, one dry, they both get you out. It's just drugs have different effects. For me, I noticed that when I drink alcohol, I want to fight. Oh, it's about to be a fight somewhere. I'm very violent when it comes to alcohol. It's just like I'm going to break out in handcuffs, or I'm going to black out on somebody's street, end up sleeping with somebody I don't even know how I got there. That's just how it happened.
So now you have an experience from alcohol. That can you tell us about one experience that you had where you drunk and didn't know what you did?
Oh, absolutely. I can remember hanging out at the motorcycle club. Went home with this white guy. I was so drunk, but when I woke up, we was in a hotel on the side of a road. It looked like a freeway to me, but it could have been Telegraph. But I didn't know how I ended up there. I didn't even know who he was. I'm looking at him like, who is you? And he looking at me like, who is you? You know what I'm saying? And, just a good time to reintroduce myself. And we went from there, But, yeah, I remember having them blackouts.
All right. Leroy, come on, man. Tell us about your story.
Pastor Lewis, I used to steal. I'm talking about at the age of 6 or 7 years old. We used to steal our mother's gin and pour water in it, and to make it seem like that nothing was missing. And then my mother caught us downstairs, fell out, me and my brother. We got passed out from stealing her gin. When we talk about alcohol is a drug, anything that will change my mind, my mood, is a substance that is considered a drug. If I drink alcohol, I am finna act a fool. It's just simple as that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because now my whole system has changed. The same thing. What the alcohol did, it led me down a road that eventually I did not like that falling out. I wanted to be woke. So therefore, I started using Debs, and from using Debs, it led to a road that led me down to where cocaine finally took me to the edge, where I was ready to jump off a building.
All right. Listen, we're going to come right back with more from Leroy, Rachelle, and LaShawn. You guys don't go anywhere. Ask the Message is going to be right back.
April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and we continue our discussion after this.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structure Recovery Corps. Free yoga and spiritual recovery classes on Thursday, automotive maintenance class, and physical nutritional classes on Friday. Visit their new residential recovery resource center located at 27700 Gratiot Avenue in Roseville, Michigan. Live Right also accepts donations of cars, trucks, boats, and campers in any condition. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructuredcorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories.
What was your drug of choice?
Alcohol. I also did crack cocaine. That's about mostly what I stayed with.
And how old were you when you first started using?
I was 7 years old, drinking beer. Dad was a biker, so it was a cool thing to do.
7? How you get hold of something at 7?
Oh, Dad gave it to me. It's cool to get drunk at 7. I liked it. You know, I've been using it ever since. You know, until I went to prison at 27, stayed there for 25 years.
And what did you go to prison for?
Oh, free basic cocaine and drinking. You know, I stayed drunk. Went with the crazy women, so, you know.
How's your relationship with your family right now?
Oh, not very good. Mom always loves me. You know, can't deny me. You know, she loves me. I'm a very nice looking guy, and, you know, she's a, you know, I'm her kid. You know, so, but Dad ain't talked to me in 30 years. You know, but that's because of my use.
So are you using now, or are you clean?
Oh, no, I'm clean. I'm going to stay that way. I had to make the decision to quit myself, you know. Nobody could do it for me. You know, no rehabs, nobody, no person, no thing, nothing could do it. I had to make that decision. I'm not going to use it again. I made that decision.
So what was your bottom? What made you decide to get clean?
Oh, living on the streets, drinking every day. I went to the hospital like 4 times a month.
When you say living on the streets, what do you mean?
Oh, just, you know, going to soup kitchens and sleeping outside in abandoned buildings, you know, smoking crack in old abandoned churches and stuff like that. I don't want to live that way no more. You know, that's not living, that's existence.
So if you could say something to help somebody out there from using drugs, what would you say to that person?
Hey, man, there's a whole lot better life out there than that crap, man. I mean, geez, peace, look where you're at. You know, I mean, look around you. There's so much nature and beautiful things out here. Man, I had to realize it. You know, I spent a lot of time in the gutter, man. There ain't no place better out here in the beautiful. Look at all these beautiful people around here. I mean, geez, look at it, man. And it's so much nicer to be out here. It's safe. It's calm. There's food to eat. I mean, it's just great, man. Look at all the pretty women.
We're back with Ask the Messengers, and again, April is Alcohol Awareness Month. With my guests, we're going to have final thoughts now. LaShawn, can you tell us about the convenience of getting alcohol?
Well, we all know it's too convenient. It's on every street corner, you know, and by April being Alcohol Awareness Month, and you don't know if you alcoholic or not, check this out. I challenge you for April to see if you can get through that whole month without drinking. If you can't, you might want to take a look at that.
All right, all right. Leroy, listen, you have an abundance of advice and wisdom. What would you say to someone who is struggling with alcohol addiction?
You know, it's very hard to understand that alcohol is a drug. It causes all kind of problems. I suggest that you immediately go to someone and ask for help. DTs and other things can happen, but if you get into an Alcoholic Anonymous program or any kind of 12-step program, you can finally get yourself to the point where you will understand what alcohol is doing to the body and what it's doing to your mind. So if my message is, if it's help available for you, in Alcohol Awareness Month, we have help available for you. Just come to a meeting. We have one every Friday at a Greater Love Church. Just come by. We'll try to help you. We'll do what we can. Just give yourself a break.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, Rachelle, how can you, what would you say to a woman, a mother, who is struggling with alcohol, and again, she's trying to keep it together, but it's tearing her down? What would you say? What advice, what message would you have for them?
I would say reach out and get help. Get you a support team, because as a mother, it is very hard on us because we carry the load. So reach out, find a friend, find a girlfriend, check out a meeting, and reach out and just get help so you can have that support system so you won't have to turn to alcohol. You can have a support system that will get you through whatever the problem is that you're going through.
All right. I'd like to thank our guests. And in my final thought, in my message to you, there is a story about a lion who roams about looking who he can devour. He's not overt. He's very subtle. And so alcohol is just that way. It is very subtle in its approach. And if you allow it to, it will grab hold of you and devour you. And so we advise you here, April is Alcohol Awareness Month. Find out as much as you can. There is so much, many resources available to you. And Ask the Messengers is here as a resource to help you. So if you are also there and you want to share your story, please reach out to us on our website, email us. If you got a question that you'd like for us to answer here on the air, please make sure you go to the website and you can submit your question to our inbox and we'll answer your question right here. And we're looking for partners. Won't you partner with us in the effort to help save lives? Won't you send a donation of any size to the information that's there on the screen? Again, we'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to Ask the Messengers, and we are trying to help save lives. We'll see you again next time on the show.